As we well know here on this Tuesday at Occupy Democrats, Trump's Truth Social platform is anything but. But the challenge in this breaking story and the imperative truth of this breaking story is that when you speak truth to power, the biggest main problem that Trump counts on is how long it takes to actually get to the truth. Because oftentimes, when you finally do, it is far too late and the damage is done. And I'm going to show you this incredible story related to Russia and Putin and Trump. But let's take a quick gander at how we got here going back to now. This.
I mean, people are shocked today that Trump is betraying Ukraine. He doesn't have a real ideology. It's about him.
I've said many times before, I've always said there was no collusion. Where is the collusion?
And he's been in bed with the Russians for a long time. I don't see that changing at all as long as he's president.
No collusion, no obstruction.
There is no collusion. You know why? Because I don't speak to Russians.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov believes relations with the United States will be better. At least both countries are working on it. Lavrov spoke after meeting with President Donald Trump at the White House.
So a lot of the talk around Trump being an asset, a Russian asset, some of it gets dismissed as conspiracy theories and.
There was no collusion.
The only collusion is between Hillary and the Russians.
It's all circumstantial evidence. What would you say to those accusations?
Well, first of all, I want to distinguish between an asset and an agent.
I'm having a good day, too. It was called no collusion, no obstruction.
That's not the way it works with an asset. The KGB made a point of cultivating powerful businessmen when the KGB began cultivating Trump.
It's a Democrat hoax. Yes, there was absolutely no collusion.
You can say it is circumstantial, but there are an awful lot of circumstances. I've written 2 books about it. There's one point after another. It's backed up by a lot of documentation.
There was no collusion with the Russians.
We go now to Russia's Foreign Minister, Sergei Lavrov. Good morning, Minister Lavrov. I want to ask you about what happened in Kyiv. President Trump has said publicly the Russian strikes are not necessary and very bad timing. Vladimir, stop. What made it worth killing civilians when Ukraine says it's ready for a ceasefire?
We only target military goals or civilian sites used by the military. We never consciously target civilian sites.
So was this an intentional attack then, not a mistake?
Much like the Kennedy assassination or the supposed disclosure of the Epstein files, which they really haven't, the bottom line is by the time we know the real truth about Donald Trump and his connection to Putin and Russia and the KGB, it'll likely be too late. In the meantime, however, there are people who won't quit, and there are people inside Trumposphere that make the point you shouldn't. And this breaking story is extraordinary. Take a listen.
Trump official who shut down counter-Russia agency has links to Kremlin. Darren Beattie, who alarmed the State Department with his pro-Moscow views, is married to a woman whose uncle has ties to Vladimir Putin. A senior official who dismantled the U.S. government's Russian disinformation unit is married to a Russian woman with links to the Kremlin, the Telegraph can reveal. Darren Beattie has provoked alarm within the State Department since being appointed in February for his ardent pro-Russian views. He has been noted for his focus on destroying the agency tasked with tackling Kremlin propaganda. Mr. Beattie, the acting undersecretary for public diplomacy and public affairs, is married to a woman whose uncle has taken several roles in Russian politics and once received a personal thank you message from Vladimir Putin. Many of Mr. Beattie's social media posts also concern China, repeatedly calling on the U.S. to surrender Taiwan to Beijing, and labeling Britain a poor and pathetic kingdom that would be far better off under Chinese dominion. Mr. Beattie was a member of the first Trump administration, but after being sacked in 2018 for allegedly attending a white nationalist conference, he reinvented himself as an alt-right media figure. In May 2021, public records show he married a Russian woman called Yulia Kirilova in a ceremony in Broward County, Florida. Ms. Kirilova, who according to her Facebook page was educated in Moscow before studying abroad in Canada and Washington, D.C., is the niece of Sergei Chernikov, a Russian drinks magnate who part owns a flat with her mother, Natalia. Mr. Chernikov reportedly received a letter of thanks from Putin for his help in the election campaign, which first brought the Russian leader to power. Both before and after his marriage to Mr. Chernikov's niece, Mr. Beattie has repeatedly attacked what he called the globalist American empire, while praising both Russia and China as counterweights to its woke ideology. The rise of non-woke China and anti-woke Russia geopolitical competitors to the globalist American empire is not a bad thing, he wrote in October 2021. He also said he looked forward to its prestige and power collapsing on the world stage and claimed that its position in the global order is rapidly deteriorating. 2 months before Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, he said, "Imagine the whining from the globalist American empire if Putin invades Ukraine. I love it when our national security bureaucrats fail." He has also praised Putin as brave and strong, and claimed the Russian leader had done more to advance conservative positions in the U.S. than any Republican. The funny thing is just about every Western institution would improve in quality if it were directly infiltrated and controlled by Putin, he wrote in September 2021. He has labeled Britain a sewage pit and the most utterly repulsive dystopia on Earth. All of these social media posts were still online at the time of writing, although Mr. Beattie has deleted disparaging tweets about Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State, having previously claimed his now boss attended gay foam parties. According to Ms. Kirilova's Facebook page, she moved to Washington on January 28th, roughly a week before her husband began his role at the State Department. Censorship Network, RFEMI, which tracked and countered propaganda from sources including Russia, China, and Iran, was a relatively small agency with a budget of just over $50 million at the time it was shut down. The U.S.'s adversaries are estimated to spend tens of billions of dollars a year on foreign disinformation. Mr. Beattie's news outlet Revolver had spent years attacking RFEMI, accusing it of being part of a censorship network designed to silence conservative voices. Sources said Mr. Beattie had doggedly pursued the agency after being appointed, taking it apart piece by piece. Beattie limited to 210 days in post, Trump unilaterally granted top-secret security clearances to personnel in the executive office of the president, citing a backlog in processing. The office is not part of the State Department. Allies in the media have suggested he is unlikely to survive his time in the spotlight, and have suggested permanent posts where he could be installed without requiring backing from senators. Senior State Department officials said, "No one in America cares about a British gossip column. This is all fake news and low even for tabloid standards. Darren is a tremendous colleague who is committed to advancing President Trump's America First agenda. In a few short months, he has been able to spearhead high-level projects that have been critical in advancing a foreign policy that puts our national interests first." Mr. Chernikov and Ms. Kirilova have been approached for comment. Mr. Beattie described the allegations as malicious defamatory trash that is beneath the standards of even the British tabloid press.
Lest we forget, Donald Trump is the man who said, "Hey Russia, if you're listening, please find Hillary's 30,000 emails," all while denigrating the FBI, the CIA, and agreeing with Putin instead of his own intelligence community, and making a mockery of the belief that somehow the Democrats are more of an adversary than Russia. That's the truth. And yet while we still seek it, you guys hang in there and stay frosty.